I returned home as usual, keys jingling in my hand, the weight of the day still clinging to my shoulders, a faint odor of burnt coffee and printer ink lingering on my clothes. As I set my things down, Belle caught my eye. She didn't speak, but her glance said everything, a quiet tension in the air that had become a staple of our home. But tonight there was something different, something new. On the dining table lay a laminated, color-coded plastic sleeve, bold letters at the top 25 new marriage rules. It looked more like a corporate policy handbook than anything personal. Neat divisions, clear fonts, little check boxes next to each rule, each one for me to initial and return to HR by the end of the day. My gaze lingered on the absurdity of it, but Belle stood nearby, one hand on her hip, the other curled around a glass of lemon water. She looked almost too calm, like she was giving a seminar rather than delivering a bombshell. "You have two options," she said, her voice controlled, smug, like she had finally cracked the code to something only she had been asking herself. Her tone was cold, clipped, and rehearsed as if reading from a teleprompter. "Accept my rules or move out." I stared at the first page in silence, then the second, then the third. Each rule more absurd than the last. Location sharing, 7 requirements. Pre-approval for any purchase above $40. Asterisk Rule 12 asterisk no more than 15 minutes to reply to texts. Asterisk Rule 19 asterisk no social gatherings without notice. Asterisk Rule 24 asterisk required end-of-day emotional check-ins for calendar entries. It was a list of pre-written conversation starters, a blueprint for behavior disguised as modern boundaries. It hit me, not just the chaos of it all, but the calm assurance in her voice, the deliberate delivery. This wasn't sudden. It had been planned, brewed, tested. She had probably passed it around her brunch crew, those women she admired so much. The ones who drank mimosas at 11 a.m. and called it reclaiming their power. It wasn't just Belle speaking anymore. It was them. She waited, watching, expecting me to get angry, defensive. She wanted a fight, a confirmation that I was the one who wouldn't listen, the one who resisted authority. She thought I would beg for harmony or storm off. But I didn't give her that. I smiled, not because it was funny but because she believed I was standing at a crossroads, obey or exile. But what she didn't realize was that she had handed me a rulebook for a game I wasn't even playing. Option A, live like a monitored adolescent. Option B, refuse and be labeled a coward who avoids responsibility. But women like Belle and her brunch crew never considered option C. They never planned for men like me, quiet, meticulous, observant, strategic. I lifted the sleeve with 2 fingers, flipped it once, then set it back down on the table. I looked at her closely. She tilted her head like a judge preparing to deliver a sentence. Her lips curved, restrained, certain that I would either pack my things by morning or beg for harmony. "Is this really how you want to do this?" I asked softly. "Because if it is, that's how we'll do it." "Marriage needs structure," she replied, unmoved. "This is transparency. Accountability." I nodded. She moved just slightly, her voice carrying the faintest flicker of hesitation. "These also apply to you," she added, her words edged with a catch in her throat. It was the smallest of slips, the flicker of doubt in her eyes. These weren't rules. They were instruments of control. I simply thanked her for letting me consider it, then walked past her, my movements deliberate, like a boss wrapping up a quarterly review. No shouting, no pleading, just certainty. Later, I sat on the edge of our bed, briefly staring at our wedding picture, the one she insisted on blowing up and framing over the dresser. We looked so happy in that photo, laughing, loving. Back when our biggest fight was over which movie to stream on a Saturday night. But somewhere, between job promotions, new friends, and personal transformations, Belle had stopped offering affection. She had started trading it for authority. I had overlooked it until tonight. No packing. No speeches. No drama. I had chosen option C, the unspoken path. No protest. No departure. No bending. Instead, I would create my own rules, and I only needed one. If we both don't live by it, it doesn't belong in this house. It began with breakfast. Hers, not mine. The way Saturdays used to begin. We'd sleep in, argue over pancakes versus omelets, spend the morning in sweatpants and the evening in sweatpants. But things didn't change overnight. They never do. Like mold behind wallpaper, it starts quietly. New friends, new smiles, lipstick I hadn't seen in years, but it wasn't for me anymore. The smiles were tight. Portia was the first. She wore wealth like perfume, entering rooms with the scent of success before she even spoke. 2 divorces worn like trophies, not traumas. "Marriage is a boardroom, love is optional," she once said over speakerphone. I laughed. Belle didn't. Then came Kesha, who managed her marriage like an app. Bold, calculating, organized. She once told Belle she laughed while scrolling through her husband's Google Maps history. "If he breathes too deep in a Sephora, I get the ping," she bragged. They laughed. Yvonne, the whisperer, was quieter but no less dangerous. A mid-level exec who put her husband on a performance plan. Spreadsheets of emotional labor, monthly check-ins, punishments for unmet benchmarks. Belle's new circle was changing her, and I noticed. Dinner became a test. Forget to fill the dishwasher? Kesha's right. Systems prevent conflict. Neglect to log my location before errands? Portia never had this issue. She trained her second husband better. But it wasn't just what Belle said, it was how she said it. The cadence, the borrowed tone. One day, I caught her mimicking them, reading a meme. "If your man isn't following your plan, he's following someone else's fingers." She froze when I saw it, but I said nothing. I was still studying the inner circle. They had a theology and ideology beyond friendship. Control over connection. They didn't urge love, they urged dominance. One leader, one follower. Preferably with receipts. I wasn't following. I didn't raise my voice. I sharpened my awareness. Breadcrumbs. All of it. I paid attention when Belle praised Portia's accountability chart or when Kesha's husband started reading self-help books. Every compliment was a command in disguise. Yvonne once said, "Emotional independence is just male ego in drag." I followed the trail, and one night, Belle was sipping white wine watching a show about wives, a man.